And we are rolling. Hello, everyone. This is Jeremy Osterberger with BIC Magazine. Today, I'm joined by Gary Bernardez, CEO of AMECO. Gary is updating us on industrial construction and maintenance site services, as well as equipment and tool rental in the downstream and midstream space. So, Gary, thank you so much for joining BIC Magazine today.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys.
So, Gary, Fluor announced its divestiture of AMECO in May of 2021. One Equity Partners is the investor in AMECO. Can you just tell us about the significance of the separation from Fluor and maybe AMECO's opportunities in the industrial space going forward?
Absolutely. They did make that announcement May of 19. And the significance really, Jeremy, is AMECO had been part of Fluor for almost a little over 75 years. And in that time frame, it had served Fluor and other contractors and owners all over the globe. So tons of different experiences in different end markets, different construction environments. And so really the significance is that you're extracting an organization that's been fairly integral to Fluor's execution over the years and making it a standalone 100% focused company, private company, on providing site services to the industry. A couple of other specifics that are unique to this transaction is it's focused on North America. So our laser beam focus of where AMECO provides its services is primarily Canada and the U.S. We will have the opportunity to support contractors in some unique locations outside of that, depending on certain parameters. But I'll tell you, our real focus is Canada and the U.S. in terms of executing and supporting the execution at sites with contractors and owners in the construction and maintenance space. So the other thing, it's always about people and the human side of this. So you've got a lot of individuals who've had a lot of history with the AMECO team inside of Fluor. And we obviously transitioned that team, and then I've brought back into the organization some people who really understand construction and maintenance at sites, and really beefed up the existing team. So we have a really strong team that's ready to drive this business on a standalone basis, and provide what we think are robust and unique services to help contractors and owners stay on budget and stay on time with their projects.
That's great, Gary. So tell us some of your goals, Gary, in your role now.
Sure. Well, the interesting dynamic we deal with now is we are truly in charge of the company. Our One Equity Partners is a terrific owner. They have a great track record. What they're very quick to tell you is we run the business. Their job is they're obviously the primary investor, and they also sit on the board, report to a board of 6. Myself included. And that board is really there designed to help govern the company going forward and to really help us evolve into a world-class site services organization. So I really applaud the One Equity Partners team. They've been terrific. I actually took the thesis of buying AMECO from Fluor to them almost 40 months ago. So we've been talking about it a while. So now our goals are really to help the team understand truly what it means to be a standalone, privately owned business. And not a lot of our existing employees have ever been in that position before. So my job is to be the coach and the leader of that team, help them understand what the new definitions of success are, a little different than being in a large public engineering and construction company. I do a lot of coaching of our leadership team and our employees, tons of communication with with everybody throughout. We have about 200, a little over 205 employees between Canada and the US. We spend a lot of time at sites with customers, really listening to the marketplace and reconnecting AMECO to the industry. When you for sale for a couple of years, that's some tough times, and you really kind of aren't certain where the company's going. And I couldn't be more pleased with how we've hit the ground running. So helping this organization stand up again and reconnect to the industry, take the experiences that we've garnered over the 75 years and provide those to a larger array of contractors and owners throughout North America. And then lastly, really focused on making my new owner very happy, quite honestly. They have some high expectations for us, and it's my job to deliver that.
Yeah, Gary, you mentioned connecting and reconnecting with clients. So is growth going to be found with your existing client base, or are you looking to new markets for growth?
Sure. Well, over the last few years, the AMECO unit had really started to focus a little bit more on supporting Fluor. It has history over those 75 years of doing a lot of work outside of Fluor, directly with owners and other contractors. So it's kind of been whipsawed a bit in terms of that approach. Well, there's no more whipsawing. We know what we're focused on, and I think that's the real opportunity to help the company reconnect. A great example is the ECC conference that we happened that you guys did just a couple of weeks ago. Those types of things really help us reconnect with customers. I would say the other thing we're trying to really spend time on is listen, because everybody's in a different world right now. Issues and problems are different. Bench strengths are different. Contractors are in different states of situations coming out of COVID or now into phase 2. So we're doing a lot of listening, really trying to understand which aspects of our broad service offering are going to be the most relevant to the broadest set of contractors that we can serve. And then I think, again, the other thing about the One Equity reconnection to the marketplace is, we're actually helping them understand, this construction and maintenance space. So we're really doing a lot of listening now, Jeremy, and making sure we understand the current state as well as we can, and we think we'll be more relevant to customers. But I think two other things there. We are very committed to the existing energy space. In other words, I know there's a lot of talk on energy transition, and we're obviously involved in some of that with some of our clients, but we have our contractor customers. Fluor is a large customer of ours now, right? They're no longer our parent. They still have to do work in that segment, and we are very committed to making sure they understand we're there for them, and we can provide a lot of service and support to them on these sites. And then secondly, I think you'll see we are also connecting to the new economy, some of the more advanced technology, battery, electric car, wafer tech, all those things that are part of the new economy, the onboarding of the supply chain. We definitely have a focus on being part of those projects and are on some of those right now.
Excellent, Gary. Would M&A fit as well into the growth strategy for AMECO, merger and acquisitions?
It will. We're going to be very, very diligent there. We've really spent a lot of time looking at what would be complementary into the AMECO, now standalone AMECO business. We are taking a look at a couple right now. So M&A, targeted M&A that would allow us to deepen our solutions. We also are very, very focused on Canada. I think AMECO over the years has been pretty opportunistic there, and then following Fluor. That's not our strategy any longer. Obviously, we have a terrific relationship with Fluor up in the Western Canada part, where a lot of the legacy oil and gas work has been. We'll continue to do that, but the Canadian market for us is a high priority. So we're also looking at some M&A activity there to see if we can find the right kinds of complements to our existing business.
Okay, Gary, and let's talk about some evolving focus here. ESG, environmental, social, and governance is certainly at the forefront of a lot of discussions in the industry. How is AMECO meeting ESG requirements?
Yeah, great question. Jeremy, we should have talked about this during the transition of AMECO. Our owner has some pretty robust ESG requirements as a private equity firm. So we had to do a ton of work on that in the transaction, and really kind of understanding where AMECO was under Fluor, and quite honestly, very, very strong ESG kind of foundation, being part of a Fluor Corporation, kind of infrastructure. Now what we're doing, Jeremy, is looking at that a little bit more fit for purpose in terms of how does it apply to us as a standalone business. So I would say three things. One, on the environmental side, we're focused on sustainability and how our combination of services can lower the carbon footprint of certain construction projects as we support contractors and owners. We've got a really good examples of that, and are focused on helping our customers understand how our ability to combine services, eliminate certain aspects where we can eliminate redundancies and those types of things, utilize different types of equipment that can be more environmentally friendly. We're incorporating all that into kind of our sustainability approach, as contractors are held to certain standards in that regard, as you know. And then I think the other thing that we're spending a significant amount of time on is on the social side is our employee engagement. And this is a great example of fit for purpose. And being part of a large corporation, you follow kind of the guidance that's provided and how they engage. We're much more granular on our employee engagement in terms of how often we engage in pulse surveys, how often we'll be doing annual questionnaires, engagement surveys. It's much more engaged. It's a smaller team, so we want to keep that small team knitted together very well and over communicate to them on both where we're going and how we're progressing, so that they understand we are committed, extremely committed to making sure it's important for them to buy into the direction first, so that all of our engagements with customers are reflected in every engagement they have with anybody on our team across Canada and the US. So that's a big change, I think, that we're very focused on, and making sure that it's appropriate for the size company we are, and fulfilling that part of the ESG requirements.
Great point, Gary. So let's switch to some more personal items. Gary, how about for yourself? What was the most pivotal moment of your career? I guess thus far, it's still going, right?
Yeah, it's going. I hope it continues to go. We've had some really interesting times these last 2.5 years making this transaction work. I can think of two, Jeremy, that really are inflection points for me. One is early on in my days. I started with Daniel Construction way back when, which became obviously part of Fluor, Daniel, and now all Fluor. And I had a technical background. My undergrad was computer science. And so there was a time where I had to make a decision, and that decision to go into more of a business development management role from a kind of a techie guy was a pretty big one. I just wasn't that good of a techie guy, so I had to find something else to do, quite honestly. And great thing about Daniel in the old days is you had great mentors, and they helped you get into the spots that you wanted to. And when you have people helping you develop your career and willing to take risks on you, and then you perform and get rewarded for that, that's my kind of work environment. And so that was a big deal. I think the other inflection point that's more connected to today is I did leave Fluor in 2014 on very good terms, and to come back and line up with an equity firm and buy the company that I was so passionate about ran for 10 years before, is just one of those. It's kind of like a storybook thing. So those two pretty important aspects or inflection points of when I look back on my career of the past 37 years.
Yeah, no, that's great, Gary. And I think of that Daniel name. So many talented people came out of that tree, and it's just incredible throughout my career to see all the influencers that started there, and of course, the Fluor Daniel from there was developed. So, yeah, great point.
Absolutely.
So Gary, give me some more insight into you personally, man. Do you have a favorite author quote, maybe an influencer, either personally or professionally, that you'd like to share?
Sure. The one book that has stuck with me over the years, I'm not stuck on any one particular author. I tend to bounce around, and I've probably 50 books that I've read halfway through, and okay, I got what I wanted out of that one, kind of thing. So I'm not the greatest consistent reader in the world, but the book that stuck with me the most was Andy Grove from Intel wrote a book called Constructive Confrontation, and it helped me really think about what is the best way to get the most out of your team and avoid a yes man mentality, because I've just been in yes man situations and they don't end very well. And I'm the furthest from that in terms of the culture I'm trying to drive here. And that book has stuck with me. I've gone back and read it. I'm also a big fan of The Art of War. I just passed that book out to this new leadership team here. It's ageless in terms of some of the things you can take from it. And then one of the quotes I would say I tend to stick to is just do the right next thing. Like sometimes world's very complex, and sometimes you can get mired into almost kind of digging yourself into a deeper hole. And when I find our team or myself doing that, I just remember, just do the next right thing. And that steps you towards, kind of the next right thing. And it's just kind of that 6 inches in front of your face sometimes, when the world's as chaotic as it is, can sometimes keep you pretty grounded.
Yeah, Gary, if you like that mindset, I just read The One Thing by Gary Keller. You might want to check
Yeah.
that out.
Okay.
Kind of a
Yep.
similar mentality as to what you just described.
Absolutely.
And I guess, Gary, my last question is, hey, look, if you weren't doing this, what else would you do? What's what are you passionate about outside of your current role?
Absolutely. That's a no-brainer for me. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I would be the second baseman for the Cleveland Indians. I made a shot at that, flunked out at when I went to college, wasn't able to hit the curveball. So that kind of put an end to that. But I am a lifelong baseball fan, and there's no doubt that if I could pick something else, it would be professional baseball.
Hey,
I love that.
still,
I love team sports. I think sports is such a teacher of life in terms of how to deal with adversity, and then how important it is to have good teammates. And that's really reflected in this team now at AMECO. We've collected a group of top-notch people, and I like celebrating success of other people. I think that's an energizing thing, and there's nothing like sports. So I definitely would. I'd be on second base for the Indians if I had a chance.
I love it, Gary. Well, look, it was fun, Gary, spending a little time with you and getting to know you a little bit better. We're going to wrap up the interview now, but if you want to join us again and with any updates or trends on construction and site services, equipment rental, please just let us know. We'd love to have you back on.
Love to do it. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
And for those who are interested in learning more about AMECO, visit ameco.com. Hey, as always, we're so grateful for our audience. Please like and share this recording with colleagues. And for more industry news, videos, podcasts, visit bicmagazine.com. Remember, everybody, it's what we do together that counts.